Now, the daily number of deaths reported in China is getting bigger and bigger. With those announced earlier this morning, the total is now more than 420.
Believing he can defy history, President Donald Trump revealed his plan to bring peace to the Middle East.
All prior administrations from President Lyndon Johnson have tried and bitterly failed. But I was not elected to do small things or shy away from big problems. Sunday, I delivered to Prime Minister Netanyahu my vision for peace, prosperity, and a brighter future for the Israelis and Palestinians. This vision for peace is fundamentally different from past proposals. In the past, even the most well-intentioned plans were light on factual details and heavy on conceptual frameworks.
The 80-page proposal strongly favors Israel. It was drafted by Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and is already backed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
It addresses the root cause of the conflict, by insisting that the Palestinians will finally have to recognize Israel as the Jewish state.
The plan would redraw the map, creating a Palestinian state with limited sovereignty. Israeli settlements in the West Bank would remain. Israel would also keep control over Jerusalem's holy sites.
Under this vision, Jerusalem will remain Israel's undivided, very important, undivided capital.
Almost immediately, protests erupted in Jordan, while Palestinian leaders who were not at the table branded the plan as a conspiracy.
It just looks like Trump, with all of his strong support of Israel from the get-go, is yet one more time trying to do a favor for his friends in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. That's what it feels like to most people.
Previous American presidents have tried to bring the two sides together to negotiate. That too ended in failure. Trump's plan was likely dead the moment it was announced, but it's already being used as a roadmap by Netanyahu, who plans to move ahead to annex West Bank settlements in the coming days.
Up with a way of keeping the world economy from going into the skids as a result of the coronavirus. Does it have a plan? Does China have a plan? Well, yeah, apparently it does. And what we're going to do here tonight is we're going to try to explain to you why, by Western standards at least, this is a very novel approach that China is taking.
In labs around the world, scientists are racing to understand the new coronavirus. They want to know where it came from and how to stop it. And to get the answers they need, they've turned to bats.
75% of emerging infectious disease came from animal. Bat can carry the viruses without symptoms. They look healthy, but bats can transmit virus to other animals or to humans.
Toll in China has now exceeded the SARS outbreak, and the World Health Organization is confirming that the virus may soon turn into a pandemic. China is reassuring citizens with more medical supplies, more food shipments, and has even built an entire hospital dedicated to the virus, and they were able to pull this off, literally build this hospital and make it operational in just a matter of weeks. Still, the headlines are frightening, especially those headlines that top stories written without a certain amount of context. In fact, China is accusing the United States and Western media of spreading fear by leaving out important parts of this story. For example, there are a few reports about the fact that more people are recovering from this particular virus, did you know, than from the SARS virus. The recovery rate is higher. And then there's the question of a vaccine and reports that there may already be a vaccine.
Ministry says 4 Turkish soldiers have been killed by Syrian government shelling. 9 others were wounded in the attack in Idlib province. On Sunday, the Turkish military sent reinforcements to northern Syria, and it warned it may intervene against the government's offensive in Aleppo and Idlib.
And Palestinians may be the most difficult challenge of all.
On Tuesday, President Trump offered his proposal for a peace agreement between Israelis and Palestinians, a plan he had called the deal of the century. He made his announcement at the White House alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who was indicted earlier in the day on corruption charges. The 80-page plan reportedly took at least 2 years to develop under the supervision of Jared Kushner, President Trump's senior advisor and son-in-law. It calls for a two-state solution, but Palestinians would have to meet certain conditions before statehood could be achieved. The proposal was also reportedly negotiated without input from Palestinians. Palestinian leaders rejected the plan before it was even released due to concerns that it would favor Israel. Still, the president hailed the plan as a win-win solution for both sides. He said the deal not only maintains Israel's security apparatus, but also includes a $50 billion economic package for the Palestinians. Some critics, though, questioned the timing of President Trump's announcement, suggesting it was meant to shift focus away from his impeachment trial and Netanyahu's legal problems.
Word of Donald Trump's plan for peace in the Middle East quickly brought precisely the opposite. Indeed, as Trump laid out his proposal in Washington, Palestinians were watching carefully.
My vision presents a win-win opportunity for both sides.
In the White House, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at his side, but no Palestinians in the room, Trump laid out a dramatic plan. Significantly, it calls for the creation within Israel of a Palestinian state, marked here in green. And though a number of Israelis reject such an idea, the map has Netanyahu's blessing.
This is an unprecedented and highly significant development.
But most of the many details in the plan are historically untenable to Palestinians, including that the U.S. recognizes all Israeli settlements in the West Bank, though there's to be a 4-year freeze on the growth of settlements to allow for more negotiations. Trump's plan would also give Israel sovereignty in the fertile Jordan Valley, and it'd require Palestinians broadly to disarm and to dismantle the militant groups Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Then there's the fate of Jerusalem, a highly contentious issue. It's the city Israelis and Palestinians both want as their capital. On Jerusalem, Trump was clear.
Jerusalem will remain Israel's undivided, very important, undivided capital.
That brought sustained applause for the president, who added the Palestinian capital would be in eastern Jerusalem, far from what Palestinians want and on the other side of a concrete security wall. Said Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas tonight in Ramallah, Jerusalem is not for sale.
Clashes at dawn at the spot which marks the very heart of this long conflict. Palestinians arriving for morning prayers at their Al-Aqsa Mosque in skirmishes with the Israeli police on their Temple Mount. By noon, things had calmed just a little. In the crowd, an elderly man was ushered into the mosque courtyard. Imam Ekrima Sabri is the former Grand Mufti of Jerusalem. Now he's banned from the site, accused of incitement by the Israelis. But today, his followers managed to carry him in. It is all a hint of a rise in tensions, just hours after Donald Trump said he will soon reveal his peace plan. Outside, other worshippers who are banned from what they consider to be their own sacred ground. Among them, Dr. Najah Bekarat.
Trump is crazy, I think, because that he did not see what happened here in the Palestine and in the Jerusalem.
Here, the idea that all of this place could be officially the capital of the Jewish state of Israel is beyond anything they can comprehend. The elderly imam, after prayers, told us that Trump's plan is not for peace, it's for us to surrender, he said. Trump wants to kill the Palestinian issue. The imam, though, as with so much here, isn't without his own controversy. In his rejection of Israel, he has in the past questioned the extent of the Holocaust. And stepping into the controversy these past 2 days, Prince Charles, a guest of Israel for one day and the Palestinians for this, the second. He visited the birthplace of Christ, Bethlehem's Church of the Nativity. His message was one of building bridges in a town dominated by a wall. And he struck a tone of sympathy for the Palestinian cause.
No one arriving in Bethlehem today could miss the signs of continued hardship and the situation you face. It is my dearest wish that the future will bring freedom, justice and equality to all Palestinians.
Palestinian President Abbas appeared to suggest that Britain had rejected Mr. Trump's proposals. Thank you to Britain for accepting the vision of a two-state solution, he said, and refusing the deal of the century.
You have been the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House.
As tensions between Greece, Cyprus and Turkey heat up, France's President Macron has decided to do the right thing and to swoop in to save the day. He's dispatched war frigates to the eastern Mediterranean as the age-old regional rivals clash once more.
France supports Greece and Cyprus when it comes to the sovereignty of their maritime zones, and along with our European partners, condemns Turkey's intrusions and provocations.
What might appear as some 19th century style of a conflict at sea is really largely about energy reserves. As you can see, the divided island of Cyprus has offshore gas fields worth billions of euros. No surprise then that the self-proclaimed Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus issues its own licenses to explore those gas-rich areas to Turkish companies, while the Republic of Cyprus gives theirs to companies including the French giant Total, which has several licenses. And